And Coulter has a piece saying that if he does this, it's the first thing that she's disagreed with Trump on. She's very, very concerned about it. She says if Trump goes out and picks an elected Republican to be his VP, the thing is going to happen is he's going to be impeached in 6 months.
You said that hostile actors successfully gained access to the commercial email accounts of people Secretary Clinton regularly communicated with. In the case of the Romanian hacker Guccifer, according to accessing Sidney Blumenthal's account, and that's been public for some time. During your investigation, were there other people in the State Department or that regularly communicated with Secretary Clinton that you can confirm were successfully hacked?
Yes.
And were these folks that regularly communicated with the Secretary?
Yes.
And were you able to conclude definitively that the attempted hacks referenced in the IG report were not successful?
We were not able to conclude that they were successful. I think that's the best way to say it.
All right, so while you said that given the nature of Clinton's server, you would be unlikely to see evidence one way or the other of whether or not it had been successfully hacked, how many unsuccessful attempts did you uncover? Did you find any there?
There were unsuccessful attempts. I don't know the number off the top of my head.
Do you have an idea? Were they from foreign governments? Where did they come from?
I want to be careful what I say in an open setting, and so we can give you that information, but I don't want to give any foreign government's knowledge of what I know. So they're
all right, but would you be so far as to say they probably weren't American high school students fooling around?
Correct. It was not limited to criminal activity.
During your investigation, did you or anyone in the FBI interview the hacker Guccifer?
Yes.
And he claimed he gained access to Sid Blumenthal's email account and traced him back to Clinton's private server. Can you confirm that Guccifer never gained access to her server?
Yeah, he did not. He admitted that was a lie.
All right, well, at least that's good to hear. All right, Section 793 of Title 18 of the United States Code makes it a crime to allow classified information to be stolen through gross negligence. Were you to discover that hostile actors had actually gotten into Secretary Clinton's email, would that have changed your recommendation with respect to prosecuting her?
Unlikely, although we didn't consider that question because we didn't have those facts.
All right, I want to go back to the question of intent real quick for just a second. I'm a recovering attorney. It's been decades since I actually practiced law. But you kept referring to she had to know it was illegal to have the requisite criminal intent. I was always taught in law school, and I don't know where this changed, that ignorance of the law was no excuse. If I'm driving along at 45 miles an hour and didn't see the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit, I was still intentionally speeding, even though I didn't know it. Now, I might not have had the requisite criminal intent if maybe my accelerator were jammed or something like that, but even though I didn't know the law was 35, I was driving 45, I'm going to get a ticket. And I'm probably going to be prosecuted for that. So how can you say ignorance of the law is an excuse in Mrs. Clinton's case?
Well, the comparison to petty offenses I don't think is useful, but the question of ignorance of the law is no excuse. But here's the distinction. You have to have general criminal intent. You don't need to know what particular statute you're violating, but you must be aware of the generally wrongful nature of your conduct.
So Congress, when they enacted that statute, said gross negligence. Yep. That doesn't say intent. So what are we going to have to enact to get you guys to prosecute something based on negligence or gross negligence? So we're going to have to add, and oh, by the way, we really do mean you don't have to have intent there?
That's a conversation for you all to have with the Department of Justice, but it would have to be something more than the statute enacted in 1917, because for 99 years they've been very worried about its constitutionality.
All right, well, I think that's something this committee and Congress as a whole, the Judiciary Committee, that Mr. Chaffetz and I also sit on, will be looking at it. And I was on television this morning, and I just want to relay a question that I received from a caller into that television commercial. And it's just real simple. Why should any person follow the law if our leaders don't? We can argue about intent or not, but you laid out the fact that she basically broke the law, but you couldn't prove intent. Maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but I do want to know why any person should follow the law if our leaders don't have to. Maybe that's rhetorical, but I'll give you an opportunity to comment on that.
question I'm no more qualified to answer than any American citizen. It's an important question. In terms of my work, in my world, my folks would not be, one of my employees would not be prosecuted for this. They would face consequences for this. So the notion that it's either prosecute or you walk around, smiling all day long is just not true for those people who work for the government. The broader question is one for a democracy to answer. It's not for me.
And I guess the ultimate decision as to whether or not Mrs. Clinton works in government or not is in everybody's hands.
I thank the gentleman.
Go back.
We'll now recognize